I would have either whooped somebody's ass on my own team or I would have got my ass whooped. That big boy number 98, whoever it was, he would have whooped me that day because I'd have yanked him off. I can't sit there and watch that kind of
Are
thing
you
happen.
saying if you're a Spartan or if you're a Wolverine? Which way are you saying if you were on which team?
Well, Michigan State. If my teammates were doing that to another individual, okay. I mean, same. Clearly, if it was my dude, I'd be getting my ass whooped with him. But like if I were in that Michigan, if I was a Michigan State player and my teammates are jumping a guy in the damn doorway, I'm not going to stand around and video. I'm damn sure not going to join in. And there was way too much of that, and it's absolutely disgusting when it happens in the streets, and it's damn sure disgusting when it happens in a locker room, Coach. How do you view that from your coach's lens, and take us into how does a team get to a point where their players do that kind of thing, and then what do you do in terms of discipline those guys?
Well, first of all, let's take it a step back, right? You're dealing with young guys. There's no excuse, right? There is a protocol in a single tunnel football game. There's a protocol at halftime where either it's agreed upon or the referees say, hey, listen, the visiting team goes first, right? And they hold the other team. So stuff like that doesn't happen. To me, right? You heard James Franklin say something about it, 2 weeks before this, right? About how many guys, because Michigan dresses a lot of guys, there's at the top of the tunnel. The protocol at the end of the game, and we've all seen this, right, George? When the game's over, the officials run off the field and go somewhere else. They don't want anything to do with it. So to me, right, that's more of the issue. You got 18, 19-year-old guys who have played a football game, right, and they're all in a tunnel. The coaches are still outside, right? Some guys the head coach is doing interviews. You're shaking it. Everybody's talking. Guys are going up that same tunnel. That is a recipe for disaster.
Agreed.
So, like I said, I played in the Big Ten. I've been up and down that thing many times. I coached 5 years at Minnesota, 3 years at Purdue. I've been up and down that thing a bunch. Same thing in the Red River Shootout. One tunnel for Texas and Oklahoma. Coaches staring at each other. But there's a protocol when you leave the field.
But right? Have you ever had a problem in those single tunnels?
No, but right now, when these officials leave the game, right, and there is no protocol at the end of the game, okay, you're asking for a real problem. And so, yeah, I agree with Jim Harbaugh, right? Based on the game, we haven't seen the other video from the tunnel, which he's seen. All we've seen is TikTok or some camera, some phone video, which is disgusting, right? Yeah. That cannot be tolerated, period. But you can't leave 19-year-old guys out there and guys talking stuff in a tunnel after a game like that, which is a rivalry game or anything like that, by themselves. So, yeah, there should be severe punishment for those players, but there also needs to be some sort of protocol because they're not professional athletes. They're not trading jerseys. They're not doing all that. They're still pissed off one way or the other. And so someone has to be in charge of that whole situation and get those guys where they need to be after the game, just like they do pregame and just like they do at halftime.
I'm going to take it a step further. And in addition to everything you laid out, it also goes to the character of the team and its leaders. How many times in playing ball and coaching ball have you seen the personal fouls start to mount up when the game is no longer in contention? And it's usually the losing team out of frustration starts getting the roughing the passer, the unsportsmanlike conduct. Everything just starts to come undone. They're not effort penalties like pass interference and things of that sort. It's grabbing face mask. It's doing all this extra stuff. Michigan State got their ass kicked. They've been getting their ass kicked all season. They started the season in the top 10. They had aspirations of hearing their name Tuesday night in some sort of situation, and they've been getting their doors blown off every week of the season, and they're frustrated. They got rocked by their in-state rival, and a couple of these dudes, and I don't know who they are, but I would assume half of them probably didn't even play in the game.
That's exactly.
They got plenty to say, and they want to show something and contribute something. They want to be the guy in the locker room to say, I know you got a couple hits, but I did too. You know those guys. And it's just low character. I got my chance to get me some kind of salvage something. And it was disgusting. And to me, everything you said, Coach, but that's why I was asking you, have you or your teams ever experienced anything like that? And ain't no telling how many you must have played against Lloyd Carr. You must have gone in there against
hey man,
I mean,
I'm not 80. Come on now, dog.
Yeah, right. or Brady. I mean,
you're gonna bring up bullshit back there.
Right? No, hey. I just had to break.
Actually,
but I'm saying, but you never had one of those situations. The leadership.
Here's the other part, George. All right, I think what's important there, and what is really disgusting, and Clint, you know this, like you said, if you had been there to help it, you'd have got into it. But it was a single guy, right?
Yeah.
The other guys are still coming up the tunnel, right? They're not there. There's a bunch of guys that didn't know what the hell happened when they got to the locker room.
Correct. Okay?
Except for the Michigan State guys and the one guy that they beat up. It's disgusting, right? Yeah. After a loss, whatever. But I'm just telling you, there has to be, in a single tunnel situation, yeah, you want guys to police themselves. You want people to act with class. You have to coach that. You have to preach that. I'm sure Mel Tucker's done that, right? But in that situation, it is disgusting what happened. And I agree with Harbaugh. I mean, that's you're just the ramifications of that right there are unjustified by the Michigan State football team. Period. Yeah. But there has to be a better protocol in that stadium, because this is not the first time that somebody's complained about it.
But the complaints have been a traffic jam and some jawing. Nothing was thrown when Penn State was in there. It was some standoffs and whatnot. Penn State coached enough, cultured enough. We ain't backing down, but we also ain't throwing nothing either. But when have we ever seen this at Michigan Stadium? And you just said you've been in there with multiple teams. You go in, you go out, protocol, no protocol. You go in, you go out.
And you know what's coming, right? Right. You know what's coming. And that's it speaks to what I said. It's disgusting.
Yeah,
and it goes back to culture and everything else. But I just think there should be some sort of protocol, not just there, but just like anything else that happens like that. It should affect every other single tunnel situation venue there is in college football.
Yeah. I mean, coach. I mean, like I agree wholeheartedly. It's like the Devontae Adams deal coming off the field the other night. I mean, oh boy, there's got to be better. There's got to be ropes up. There's got to be security guards. Players coming and going from the field. They're in the heat of the moment. They're coming off the field. My man can't be running in front of him. But damn, Devontae, you can't two-hand chuck his ass. I mean, that can't happen. So look, I agree with you on all the protocols, Coach. But I'm going to be honest with you, man. What you just did to me, because I've never been there. I don't know. When I threw more touchdowns than Tom Brady, we were in the Citrus Bowl, and two of them were the Michigan Wolverines, and they were wrong. They had the wrong jerseys on, Coach. So you know what I mean? Look, here's the deal. What you just confirmed to me is that I'm 100% sure that Mel Tucker told his guys, hey, we're going to be coming up the same tunnel. No matter what happens, I don't want no bullshit going on. Don't be fighting. Don't be jawing. If Mel Tucker didn't do that, then it's the most egregious mistake a head coach has ever made, given that particular situation. So really, to me, which it makes it even worse, because I know the coaching staff addressed it with these guys. Yeah. And if you've got it in your heart and you've got it in your mind and in your soul to get with 6, 7, 8, 10 dudes and jump on another guy's head and kick and punch, you're a sorry POS, man. And if I were a coach, I would be so disappointed in my program that I had guys in there. I don't care if they played or not. 8 players were suspended. 6 of them didn't even play in the game. I don't give a rip. You got my jersey on, and I am absolutely disgusted at you're representing me in my university, and that right there happened.
What would be the punishment?
Your ass is gone.
Coach Stoerner off a team.
Your ass is gone. Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I think all I've ever said was, hey, look, you represent more than yourself, and you start there, right? All these men in this room, this coaching staff, but you represent everybody at this institution and everybody who ever went to school here, ever, right? So it's bigger than you. When you make those types of decisions on or off the field, in this case, in the tunnel, right? Which I never covered that. I mean, we covered that week, but when you make that decision, right, you're making that decision based on not just you, but every man, woman, whoever went to school at this university. You represent them for the next 3.5 hours, right, on this field, and then whenever you're not here. So it's easy to make that decision about what happens to a guy or the guys who take part in something like that. It's an easy decision. You're done. You're done here.